By being a Genshin Impact player for a while, you'll begin to notice that you go through certain phases with your relationship with this game. Sometimes you'll be eager to get on every day, do your dailies, and stare at Alhaitham for hours on end. On the other hand, there will be points in time where you can't even muster yourself up to even look at the game's icon on your
insert platform you play on here.
However, this is just part of the Genshin Impact player experience. It's all part of the Genshin Impact cycle. And that's what I'm going to be covering in today's video. Today I'm going to be going over the 6 stages of this cycle. By the end of the video, let me know where you are right now in this cycle. This is the stage where you've fallen in love with the game. Maybe you're a new player who's coming to understand what this game is all about. Maybe you've fallen in love with the story, or the scenery, or the gameplay, or maybe there's a certain character that you absolutely love. Maybe it's the quests or the lore. Either way, there's something about Genshin that's begun to hook you in for the first time. If you're an older player, being in this phase means that you've fallen out of love with this game in the not so distant past. But now you're back into the swing of things again. Perhaps it's because Genshin announced something new coming to the game. Or maybe you've picked the game back up and it just feels nice to be back. Whatever the case, and whatever kind of Genshin Impact player you might be, this is your initial driving force to play this game now. It is the reason why you decide to log in and spend your time on this game for a few hours every day or so. It's a refreshing yet addicting feeling, and this is complemented by the next stage very nicely. This is the part of the cycle that follows very quickly after the honeymoon phase. Naturally, when you begin to like something, you have more of an interest to learn more about that thing. The same thing applies to Genshin. For newer players who are experiencing this cycle for the first time, this is the stage where they begin to climb up the ARs at a consistent rate. They'll watch guide videos and overall build up their foundations as a Genshin player. You'll figure out what your favourite kind of playstyle is, who your favourite characters are, what the different elemental reactions do, all that kind of stuff. You'll be enthusiastic about getting to AR 45 and above so that you can start getting 5-star artifacts for your characters and learn how to build them. You'll also learn about the pity system during this time, and then you'll probably go on to watching my saving Primogems videos for the first time. If you're an older player who's been through this cycle a good number of times, this will be where you fall in love with the game all over again for whatever reason. Maybe a certain character has finally been released and you're absolutely loving them. Maybe it's a certain event, maybe it's the card game, an old character that you've had for ages that you've only just started building up now, anything really. Either way, no matter if you're a new or old Genshin fan, it's a great time to play this game. You're not burned out and you're not going hardcore. You're vibing, you're happy, it's a great time. Unfortunately though, it's followed by the most intense phase of them all. This is the phase where you become obsessed with playing Genshin, but it feels different. It feels less magical and refreshing than the first 2 phases. It's arguably the longest phase in this cycle as well. This is the stage where you play Genshin Impact every day out of habits. The habits of logging in, doing your dailies and grinding comes as naturally to you as waking up in the morning and brushing your teeth. No matter what kind of day you've had, even if you've come back home and it's midnight, you'll still find a way to log in and play because you're hyper fixated on this game now. It's no longer a refreshing feeling, it's just become a part of your everyday routine. Maybe you're so far into this phase that you have a dedicated schedule on things to do and domains to grind every single day. Like one day you're focusing on Chongyin's artifacts. The next, you're focusing on Alhaitham's boss materials. The next, you're focusing on Ningguang's weapon materials. The list goes on, you know? When you're in this phase, you are up to date on everything. You know which characters are upcoming, coming next. You do Spiral Abyss as soon as it resets. You complete all the events ASAP, and you never give your resin a chance to cap. You've done all the quests, you watch the Genshin live streams on Twitch live, so you know what's coming up. You're saving up more and more Primogems every day, and your account is getting stronger and stronger every day. This is the Genshin grind in its true form, which is both fun and dangerous. This is the phase where you log into Genshin, but you're just unsure of what to do once you're in. You're logging in, again, out of habits, but that's really starting to become the only reason why you're logging on, because it's become a habit, not because you have a specific purpose or anything. You still feel somewhat compelled to log in every day to get your primos and to spend your resin, but it's just become mindless farming at this point. There's no real purpose to it other than playing for the sake of playing. For the sake of spending resin, or collecting primogems, or maybe saying hi to your characters in your teapot or something. For instance, it's in this phase where you start farming a single resin-efficient domain like Emblem or Deepwood every day, but it's just for the case of spending your resin, rather than because you're farming for a certain character. You're not playing to work on anything or anyone specifically, mainly because you feel like you've done everything that you want to right now. But you're still compelled to farm for the sake of it. Generally, you feel like there's nothing for you to do. All the characters that you want to build have been built. You're caught up on events, quests, and Spiral Abyss. You're really only logging in at this point to do the bare minimum, because it's just a part of your day's routine at this point. This is the point in the cycle where you're starting to not log in daily anymore. Perhaps you're logging in for 20 minutes a day to do your daily commissions and to use up your resin. On some days, you might even just condense your resin, so you're really only logging in for the daily primogems and then logging out again. But even that might stop. Eventually, your mindset becomes something along the lines of, maybe I can afford to not do my dailies today. And you start to not log in daily. You'll still log in a few times a week, as opposed to every single day, but that's about the extent of it. You're at a point in the cycle where you're content with doing the bare minimum and below. The purpose that kept you going in the beginning has slowly disintegrated and dispersed. It's gone from playing for a certain purpose in the beginning to playing and grinding for the sake of playing and grinding. You know how I said before that phase 2 was the longest phase? Well, if you're not careful, this phase could end up being the longest instead. This is where you barely log in at all, or maybe it's come to a point where you're not even touching the game. You don't care about capped resin or primogems or events or anything. You're just tired and burnt out from playing the same game over and over again every day. Maybe life is getting in the way a bit too, giving you even more of a reason to stop logging in. Maybe nothing about this game interests you right now, so you've stopped playing altogether until you feel like the time is right for you to pick up the game again. For whatever reason, you're finally touching grass. Or perhaps you're playing something else. But you're taking a break from your relationship with Genshin Impact, and that's totally fine. This isn't where this cycle ends though. In fact, after the break phase, you'll go back to the honeymoon phase at some point, and you'll start this cycle all over again. And again, and again. You'll go through this cycle multiple times. There's no set time period for how long this cycle could last either. If this is your first time going through this cycle, it could last a whole year, maybe 2. The next time you experience this cycle, it could just start and end within the matter of a few months. It really just depends on you. What part of the cycle are you currently in? Let me know in the comments down below, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace, 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 peace.